Do you know the meaning of this wonderful name? Hebrew words and letters are arranged and read from right to left, and the letters to this word sound something like Yod-He Vav-He. It's the name of the Creator Elohim, described in the Judeo-Christian Bible, commonly translated in English as Lord, but sometimes translated as YHVH or YHWH, and pronounced in various ways. For the purposes of this presentation, I will try to pronounce it to the best of my non-Jewish ability using the Masoretic pronunciation, Yehovah. In the beginning, the 7 days of creation was followed by a summary verse of the creation story of Genesis 1 verse 1 to Genesis 2 verse 3. This is the first time that the name of Yehovah was revealed to the reader in the Bible. Genesis 2 verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that Yehovah Elohim made the earth and the heavens. So he created us, our world, the land, air, sea, all the plants and creatures that inhabit it, and a specific day to spend time with his most precious creation, man as in mankind. Creation is what sets him apart from other gods, or Elohim. This is a really important point that many Christians forget or marginalize. I will get to the reasons why in a future video. The adversary hates the Creator and despises his created beings, especially man. But the Creator wants us to remember that He is the only true Creator who is able to redeem His followers because He loves us so much. He allowed His only begotten Son to die for us, and His plan of salvation is memorialized in His name. Do names matter to Yehovah? The Bible is full of examples, from Adam on down to Yeshua, the names add details about their lives that just enrich my personal Bible experience. These inherent meanings of names and people and places make Bible stories more memorable. The name Adam, for instance, means man and is associated with the color red. The name Noah means rest. The name Yeshua means salvation. Pictographic meaning of Yeshua is also fascinating and will be revealed after the pictograph of Yehovah. The stories of Yehovah changing names of some people like Abram to Abraham, Jacob to Israel, Saul to Paul, and giving names to individuals like John the Baptist and his son Yeshua shows me how important names are to him. If Yehovah, who is no respecter of man, thought it was necessary for him to name some of us, what significance does it say about his name? Should we reciprocate the care and attention that he shows us in regards to names by thoughtfully acknowledging his name out of love and respect? So what does the name Yehovah and Yeshua mean? Before I reveal these fascinating names, we must understand why this might be important. Names are often associated with one's character, reputation, and sometimes prophecy. This study is not to invalidate those associations, but to add to the richness already revealed through them. So putting that aside, should we call on the name of the Creator God by the name that was given to us in the original Hebrew text, or should we continue to use the title Lord? Would this matter to Yehovah? But what harm is there when we call on His actual name as given to us in the original text? So why do so many English translations use the title Lord in place of Yehovah or YHVH? In Exodus 20 verse 2, Yehovah Himself said in many English translations, I am Lord thy God. But I believe a more accurate translation should have been I am YHVH thy Elohim, based on how each of the characters sound in Hebrew. What motivated the translator to use Lord over YHVH? Exodus 9 verse 16. And in very deed for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. Can one declare a name without the use of a specific name? If I innocently call Yehovah Baal out of ignorance, would that matter to Yehovah? Jeremiah 23 verse 27. Which thing to cause my people to forget my name by their dreams which they tell every man to his neighbor, as their fathers have forgotten my name for Baal. The interesting thing here is that the word Baal can be translated in English as Lord. Is this Satan's attempt to place himself in the Bible as the Most High, as he declared in Isaiah 14 verses 13 to 14? By making the translators omit the name of the Most High, only to be replaced by the word Lord, which is another way of saying Baal. Isaiah 14 verses 13 to 14. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of El. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Ezekiel 36 verse 23. And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them. And the heathen shall know that I am Jehovah, saith the sovereign Jehovah, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes. So based on this Lord Baal connection alone, are we profaning his name by calling him Lord? That is for you to decide. Speaking of Baal, this is just a side note. It is interesting that the pictograph of the word Baal can be rendered this way: tent, eye, and authority, which is represented by a whip. There is a remarkable similarity to the all-seeing eye symbol associated with secret societies and their allegiance and obedience to their authority, which is not Jehovah, but false gods, going by many names, but all pointing to Satan himself. The all-seeing eye is a counterfeit symbol for the Most High, which is represented by the attributes all-knowing, all-powerful, and all-present. The occult, which means hidden, is Satan's domain, and he is doing all manner conceivable to be like the Most High. It comes to me as no surprise that much of this world is controlled by the members of these secret societies, carrying out Satan's agenda, sometimes in guise of doing good, deceiving and corrupting its members through favors, blackmail, threats, and deceptions. There are a few differences that I can see. The symbol of the tent in Jehovah's character can be associated with his sanctuary or tabernacle, where our salvation is graced to us in type and antitype, open to the whole world to see and participate. Whereas the tent in the all-seeing eye symbol can be rendered as secrecy or hidden or occult, and is only open to the initiated. The whip can represent coercion that Satan uses to do his bidding, which is opposite of Jehovah's character, who gives us true freedom. Does man have authority to change the name of YHVH to Lord in the Bible? The text in original language reveals his name. I can't speak for other translations, but in many English translations, his name is nevertheless replaced. I think this is odd that the most important character of the Bible has his name replaced. According to the following verse, it is man that is responsible for adding confusion to the Bible. In the English language New Testament, for example, the name Judas, Jude, and Jude are variants of the name Judah. I didn't know James was Jacob either. This was all new to me. If it were me, I would have used the same versions of the names in the Old and the New Testament, just for consistency. 1 Corinthians 14:33. For Elohim is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all assemblies of the saints. So let's examine what the third commandment says. Exodus 20 verse 7. Thou shalt not take the name of Jehovah thy Elohim in vain, for Jehovah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Another rendering of this verse would replace the word take with exalt, so it would imply that we ought to exalt or lift his name for serious matters. But what happens when we exalt using some other form of his name, like Lord? Will our words or prayers fall on deaf ears? Probably not, because he will judge us by our hearts. But nevertheless, I don't want to make any assumptions. So what does the plain words of Scripture say? I believe it's up to you as to how you want to address your God. I'm just sharing with you how I would like to address him, but desire that all followers use his actual name. Psalm 99 verse 6. Moses and Aaron among his priests, and Samuel among them that call upon his name, they called upon Jehovah, and he answered them. It seems clear to me that there is a blessing in calling out the actual name of our Creator instead of just a title, which can be attributed to anyone. Here are some verses related to salvation. Salvation only comes through Yeshua because He and His Father loves us. But we must repent and forsake all sin that does not exist in Jehovah's kingdom. It is interesting that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob did not know the name of Jehovah. Exodus 6 verse 3. And I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of El Shaddai, but by my name Jehovah was I not known to them. This might explain why the Chinese, after the dispersion at the Tower of Babel, before Jehovah's name was revealed to the Hebrews, have a similar sounding term for the Creator, Chang-Li, instead of Jehovah. It is also interesting that one of Noah's sons, Shem, which means name, is the progenitor to the Hebrew people, and likely the Chinese as well. The Hebrew people are the chosen representatives for Jehovah's people on earth, and today Jehovah is also called by this Semitic people as Hashem, which means the name. Here are some more examples regarding proper names. Psalm 105 verse 1. O give thanks to Jehovah, call upon His name, make known His deeds among the people. Isaiah 52 verse 6. Therefore my people shall know my name, therefore they shall know in that day that I am He that does speak. Behold, it is I. John 17 verse 11. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world, and I come to thee, Holy Father. Keep through thine own name, which thou hast given me, that they may be as one as we are. Does the English translators changing the name of Jehovah to Lord violate the following verse? Deuteronomy 12 verse 32. What things soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. You might be asking, why did the New Testament writers leave out the name YHVH and choose to use a generic Greek word for God, Theos, or Kurios? I am not sure, but I believe the name Jehovah from the Old Testament is all that is needed, and I'll get to the reasons why this might be so. Besides the connection to the word Baal, I have some reservations for the word Lord, which I will not get into now. But it is just my personal preference to use the word Master instead when speaking about Jehovah or Yeshua. Some people translate the pictograph this way: hand, look, nail, look. This in and of itself is profound. But when we actually see the older pictographic origins of the Hebrew characters, it reveals more than what we can see in the later versions of the Hebrew characters. Now I will share with you another possible meaning of the name Jehovah and its possible connection to the following verses. Genesis 22 verse 8. And Abraham said, My son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. Isaiah 53 verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. This version of Old Hebrew characters are void of vowel markers and are dated around 1st century BC. Therefore, pronunciation of Jehovah is not certain because the oldest known records of the Creator's name with the vowel markers are from the Masoretic text, dated around 7th century AD. It is pronounced something like Jehovah. So going back to their earlier Hebrew characters, we can start to see the pictographic origin in their writings. This style is from around 9th century BC and is associated with the following meanings. When we go back a little further to around 15th century BC, we can clearly see that the Hebrew characters were pictographic, similar to Egyptian hieroglyphs and Chinese pictographs. Each pictograph represents an object, and each object can mean various things. One meaning that many people agree is that it means hand, look, nail, look. While this is correct and already sounds amazing, there is something more that could be added to this on another level. Only by seeing the more ancient version of this word can you render another meaning which just impressed me so much when I first saw it. It must be shared. So what do you see here? Do you see the arms in Yod, which today is the smallest Hebrew character? Here are some wonderful examples of this imagery in the arm hand of Yehovah. Deuteronomy 5 verse 15. And remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that Yehovah thy Elohim brought thee out thence through a mighty hand, and by a stretched out arm. Therefore Yehovah thy Elohim commanded thee to keep the Sabbath day. In Isaiah 52 verse 10, Yehovah has made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our Elohim. 1 Kings 8 verses 41 and 42. Moreover, concerning a stranger that is not of thy people Israel, but cometh out of a far country for thy name's sake, they shall hear of thy great name, and of thy strong hand, and of thy stretched out arm, when he shall come and pray toward this house. There are many examples in the Bible regarding his arm and hand. I encourage you to study these for yourselves. Do you see the two spirit-like figures in this name? So the name Yehovah may be a name shared by both God the Father and God the Son, because it is often followed by the word Elohim, which literally means gods, instead of plain El, which is translated God in singular form. And if you take John 1 verses 1 to 3 into account, it makes sense that Elohim indeed represents both deities. The following is my own interpretation of one of these possible meanings for the name of the Most High, and is described in the following verses. Genesis 22 verse 8. And Abraham said, My son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. Psalm 22 verse 16. For dogs have compassed me, the assembly of the wicked have enclosed me, they pierced my hands and my feet. John 10 verse 15. As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. John 3:16. Acts 5 verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Yeshua, whom ye slew and hang on a tree. So when we examine the pictographic understanding, the following can be revealed. Yod could represent hand or work, and those two figures obviously look like people. So in this case, these are deity. So when examined with the pictographic understanding, the following can be revealed. Work of God the Father is to nail the Son. Speaking of the Son, let's look at the pictograph of the name Yeshua, which can be rendered as follows. Hand is consumed by nail for all to see. But this is just temporary, because Yeshua will give us a new name when he returns in Revelation 19:12. If the purpose of Jehovah's name is to reveal something, then no amount of transliteration into Greek will show the meaning of the name Yehovah, because Greek alphabet is not a pictographic one as far as I know. Only in the original source can these truths be witnessed. It is therefore my opinion that Yehovah's name was intentionally not transliterated into Greek, because it will lose the special meaning. When you look at the following discovery, the discovery of the name Yehovah, encoded in our DNA by means of sulfuric bridge, sets the Hebrew Bible apart as the legitimate source and reference to the true God of creation. In order to understand this, you must know that each Hebrew letter also represents a number. So in this chart, you can see that Y is 10, H is 5, V is 6, and therefore YHVH is 10,565. In 1985, an Israeli scientist, Dr. Isaiah Rubinstein, claimed to have discovered the pattern of the sulfuric bridge structure in our DNA. There is a sulfuric bridge at 10th acid, then the 5th, then the 6th, then the 5th. Then this repeats. This only works with the Hebrew characters, not Greek. A follower of Yeshua must make it back to the Old Testament to figure this out for themselves. This revelation all leads us back to the beginning, the creation described in the Torah. As always, praise Jehovah and Yeshua for all blessings.